A little video journal here. Today is August 15th. Um, we had double news today. Alright, let me actually. So this was our week. We had an uneventful week. We had CPI, PPI this week. Today we just had core retail sales and prelim, inflation expectations. Trump speaks. So pretty eventful week today. It was a pretty good week overall. I think I was green every day this week, so solid. Um, Today's bias, I was bearish, and it was a nice bearish move today. First point, I was just aiming for Thursday's lows. Sure, it's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday's low. I'll show you in a sec on the higher time frame what I was kind of looking for, but we'll start with the news. Asia session didn't really do much. I didn't pay too much attention to it. I was also aiming for all this liquidity here. We kind of stood around this range, so I used, yesterday's first fair value gap as well. Since it was so close to open, I just dragged it out. So we had news at 8:30. This was our 8:30 candle. We kind of stood just inside of it for most of the time after it printed, until right before open. We decided to take its highs. So once we took this liquidity and we opened up, it was a good sign right off the bat. And we printed under this first fair value gap from yesterday. The only part, so I wasn't going to enter anyways because I was waiting for, the 10 o'clock news before I was going to do anything. But it looked like nice shorts were coming out. Probably in the past, I would have took this short once we just got into this first FEG from yesterday. But just decided to stay patient until 10. Also, I didn't like that we had this major area right over here that we can tap in, so we had just this double inversion lined up, which just from past experience, like super magnetic. So I was just gonna be patient there, no shorts. Ended up flying down. We took Thursday's low, which is like somewhere right here. And once that 10 a.m. news came, we created equal lows. Okay, so, and then we kind of just flew up. So I was like, okay, I don't really know what to do from here right now. I'm just going to stay patient. Either this is going to get touched and I'm going to react to this and see what happens, or we're going to take this lows first. So, I'm just being patient here. And we ended up taking these lows and coming into a pretty big area that I had marked out on a higher time frame, which I'll just show it right now. But so this was us today, heading down, and this was Tuesday. Yeah, this was Tuesday's how we kind of started off the week. We ended up having this big candle, which I'm pretty sure Tuesday. Yeah, so this was our CPI candle. So we ended up coming back to our CPI candle. So this was the news candle that we had. Then we ended up sweeping under it, closing it, and then heading back up. But, like with inversion, fair value gaps, you want to see it get tapped in again. And once we closed above it and reclaimed it, we didn't get that tap in, right? And it was also aligned with this smaller one. And we had the fair value. This was what I was kind of using as one of my entries, this first FEG from this Tuesday. So if I come back, also, I don't have to pull up an hourly to know that this is that this was an order block, but this was also a 1 hour order block that we came back into. Sorry, Juzo Beans crawling on me right now. Want some loving. So once we took this liquidity, we kind of tapped into all that. We tapped into the 15-minute inversions and used that first FEG as like a barrier. There's also some other things I was using in this area because I extend important imbalances kind of way out. It's kind of shown in my Top Step. I can show you in a sec. But, and I'm saying show you in a sec because I don't know, a lot of people are asking me to teach them how to trade, so I was just gonna start journaling these and showing them. But this is also for me, so. So we tapped into this area. I entered here just because we tapped into this area, and we were approaching the macro, which was this candle right here, this 1150 candle. And from experience, right before a macro, if we tap into a major liquidity pool, like we're gonna head out. So it was just A+ right there. And once we closed it just gave me even more confluence once we closed over this breaker. Well, what was an order block, which is now a breaker. So I wanted us to just head back into this zone, this area that we left. Which was also, I noticed now when I was kind of just looking back and journaling this, but it's also, this is that area I was looking at. It's also this fair value gap that we left as we were coming down. So this is a nice hourly area that we're gonna see what happens here, but it's gonna be like a magnet either next week. So I only needed 1500 today. So we came back into this breaker and I wanted us to just head out, but I also saw this fair value gap that since we left it open, this was generating liquidity. So I was like, okay, we're probably gonna come back into this and then head out, which we did. So we tapped into this fair value gap that was aligned with this breaker. And I entered a second contract here. Just because I knew it could like just poke around and start messing around, and I was confident. I moved it to break even. The trade, I just literally, because I was using this breaker now for my stops, I just put it right under the wick. And then I took profits right here. It was kind of messing around. I was a little worried because it was messing around this inverted I call it order. It's an order block now. So this inverted order block, and we left equal low. So I was like, whatever. But I just let it play out, and we took profits here for 1500. And we're still kind of messing around here. I still think we're heading up here and even higher. We'll use this probably as a launch to go to new all-time highs. But so I closed it there, and yeah, that was my play today. And it was pretty solid. It was nice. I like that I was nice and patient. I just before I'd be trading up in here, losing money, trying to guess where it's gonna go. Today I just let it hit either one of these crucial areas that I was looking at, here or here, and it worked out. And followed all my rules. Everything was smooth. Everything was good. Show you on NQ. So yeah, I was just one trade today. I opened up a combine and just took that. Only needed 1500 because my aim is 3K. So Monday we'll aim for that 3K. And yeah, so this was my top step. This was that area. These are those important imbalances that I drag out that I usually reuse because I see how price reuses them um, multiple times. So you'll see imbalances happening, like how we use this order block twice, a couple times, and it took out this major liquidity over here, this data low. Like this will get extended out. Oh shit. This will get extended out indefinitely, not forever, like because the charts will just get too messy. But then I'll use that again. So if I see that we're bearish again, for example, and we print under this, if we tap back in, that's an area that I can use to enter if it aligns with time, if it aligns with another 1 minute imbalance or 5 minute and a higher time frame bias, right? So that's just kind of how I use them. Like for example, let's see. So you can see how even at open, this was open, 9:30, but right before open, how we tapped into this one that I had marked. Okay. That's not an entry for me, right? That's just kind of to help me, just give me a confluences. Like this is what, like it's like it respected that. So now it's my bearish bias is I just have more confluences for us to just keep going lower. And you can see how far this I extend this, and it respects it here. It messes with it here. I just where did this start? So this is a high I found important for some reason. A lot of these are just on experience. I just know which ones matter. It's kind of hard to explain. They either ones that are like they take other important highs, or they sweep data lows or data highs. They happen during a macro or like specific times like 10:30 or like a 10:30 SMT or something like that. So it just depends, like the volume imbalances, and like you can see how many times it comes back into this area, respects it, right? Forms more liquidity, like right above it by not touching it, comes back. And then we have just periods where, we're consolidating and it'll just keep, reusing it. Like it tapped into here. Ignore the wicks, the bodies tell the story right here, how we were respecting it. So like there's certain ones that I just find to be more important than others that I'll just drag out in time. Right. So look at all this respect. And you don't necessarily use it, like I can use it during Asia, but you want to use it during these more, higher volume times when it aligns with your bias and other confluences as well. So like if I had a SMT that printed up above here, we just tapped into a 15-minute inversion, and I'm expecting it to go down, and then it starts heading down and we tap back into it, like we close under it and tap back in. That's an entry. That could be an entry, right? But that's the only way I use them, really. Yeah, so you can just see how it just it works. Like price remembers certain areas. Right here, this was recent. So this was when we came back into this. See how this one aligned with it, made a low, we came up above it, then we closed under it and created this fair value gap, and then we come back and rebalance that area, and then we did it again here and then head back down. Go Juju. Yeah. So yeah, that's today. It's just 8:15, and yeah, Thanks for watching. 15 minutes, not bad.